Good morning, class. So here is the part 2 of our video lesson about variation, direct, inverse, joint, or combined variation. Alright, so once again, so what are going to submit this week is all about the worksheet number 1 entitled Variation and Performance Task number 1. And also, ito po yung ating performance task number 1. Also, kasama din sa submission yung self-check ninyo ng ating learning task number 2 dun sa ating self-learning module. Okay? So, ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating direct or direct proportion? So, when we say direct variation, it is a relationship between two quantities x and y, where as x increases, y also increases, or as y decreases, x also decreases. And the ratio between them is constant or the same for all given values of the variables. So if y varies directly as x, then we can say that y is equal to kx, wherein k ay yung po yung tinatawag natin the constant of the variation, or k is equal to y over x. Okay, let us have the example. So which shows direct variation, the time t required to perform the given amount of work to the number of persons be working, and the letter B, the circumference C of a circle to its diameter D. Okay, so when the number of persons working on a certain amount of work increases, the time for them to finish the work is decreases, and that is not direct variation. Okay, so yan yung tinatawag na natin inverse variation. Okay, C is equal to R phi D. So the circumference of a circle is directly proportional to its diameter, and this shows direct variation, wherein kapag tumataas yung ating diameter, ibig sabihin tataas din yung circumference. Okay, so increases. Example number 2, the commission C of a salesman varies directly to the amount of his sales, as how will his commission change when his sales are doubled? Okay, so therefore C is equal to KS. Since nag-double po siya, so C is equal to 2 times 2S or 2KS. Okay, so double po yung ating sales. Okay, so the commission is also double. Number 3, the area A of the umbrella varies directly to the square of its radius R. If the radius of the umbrella is threefold naman daw, how is the area of the umbrella changed? So A is equal to KR square. Since nag-threefold, so we have K is equal to 3R raised to the second power, or R square. And then, atin siyang isi-simplify, kaya siya ay magiging 9R square. Okay, and then times K, so therefore we have 9KR square. So the area of the umbrella will be 9 times of its original area. Okay? Example number 4. If y varies directly as x, how is y changed if x is increased by 15%? Okay? So the answer is if y varies directly to x, then what happens to x? So also happens to y. Therefore, y also increased by 15%. Okay? And then, when we say inverse variation or inverse proportion, okay, there is a given fixed value of the area of the rectangle, which is 60 square centimeter. The students gave different values of length and width with the same value of area. So for example, length is equal to 2, width is equal to 30. If the value of length is 3, the value of width is 20. And if the value of 5 is 12, the value of width is 12. As you can see that the product of L and W are all equal to 60, di ba? So the length of the rectangle varies inversely to its width, and the length of the rectangle is inversely proportional to its width. Okay, so the mathematical symbols, so L is equal to K over W, or K is equal to LW. Okay, so therefore, lahat ng yon ay equal to 60. Okay? So once again, inverse variation involves a relation of two quantities x and y, wherein as x increases, y decreases. Bumababa naman siya. So y varies inversely as x, or y inversely proportional to x. So therefore, the equation will be y is equal to k over x, or k is equal to x y. Okay, so where k is the constant of the variation or relationship. Okay, for example, at constant temperature, the volume B of a gas varies inversely to the pressure P. So what happens to the volume when the pressure increases? So here is the answer. Since the volume varies inversely with the pressure, then the volume decreases as the pressure increases. Is that clear? Example number 2. The number of hours T required to do a certain job varies inversely to the number of men and working. If additional workers were hired, how will the number of hours to finish the job change? So of course, the relationship between the number of men and the number of hours is inverse. The number of hours to finish the job will be decreasing. Okay, so decreases. Okay, example number 3. The length L of a violin string varies inversely to the frequency F of its vibrations. A violin string 14 inches long vibrates at a frequency of 450 cycles per second. Okay? If the length of the string is reduced, what will happen to the frequency of its vibration? So the frequency of its vibration will increase. Okay? So mag-i-increase po yun ha. How about joint variation? So in finding the area of a rectangle, we use the formula A is equal to LW. The length and the width in this formula are inversely related, and A is considered a constant as shown in scenario 2. Thus, only two variables are actually used in this formula. Since a rectangle is also a parallelogram, we can also say that A is equal to BH, or base and height. The width becomes the base and the length becomes the height. So let us look this parallelogram. The base is 4, the height is 3, so the area is 12. 7 times 4, we have 28. 5 times 6, we have 30. Okay? So suppose that you cut each parallelogram into halves, you will then have 3 triangles. Diba? Kakaroon tayo ng 3 triangles. So we have 4 times 3 is equal to 6. 7 times 4 is equal to 28 to 28. Okay? And then 5 times 6 is equal to 30. And then ito magiging 12 to, di ba? 12 yan. Now, kaya po siya naging 6 kasi triangle nga po siya. Then 1 half of 12 is 6. 1 half of 28 is equal to 14. And 1 half of 30 is equal to 50. Diba? So therefore, the areas of these triangles are half the areas of their corresponding parallelograms. Okay? That is why in finding the area of a rectangle or triangle, we use the formula as A is equal to 1 half BH. Okay? So in this case, there are 3 variables involved. A, B, and H. Kaya po siya ay combined variation. So the constant in the formula is 1 half, yung constant. So notice that the area of the triangle increases whenever the product of the base and the height increases. The situation illustrates joint variation. Yun po ha, joint variation. It is a type of a variation in which one variable varies directly to the product of 2 or more variables. Thus, we say that the area of a triangle varies jointly to its base and height, and the constant of variation 1 half is obtained by dividing the area of the triangle by the product of its base and height. So, in mathematical symbols, A is equal to KBH, or K is equal to the area over BH, and the value of K is 1 half. Okay? So let us have an example. Determine if the given illustrates joint variation or not. Amount of interest, is it variation or not? And that is joint variation kasi po meron tayong PRT. Rate of interest, the time, and the principal amount. Okay? How about this one? Volume per box, so LWH, and that is joint variation. How about this one? Acceleration of a car, so that is not joint variation. Bakit? The acceleration A of a car varies directly to its speed and inversely to the time. Okay? So therefore, that is not a joint variation because two types of variation were used. Okay? Kasi nagamit natin yung inverse at saka yung direct. Okay? Kaya siya ay joint. That is not a joint variation. Okay? Now, it's time the volume B of a circular cylinder varies jointly to the square of this radius or r of the base and its height h with phi as the constant of variation. If the radius is fixed and h is doubled, how is B affected or yung volume? So once again, ang volume po natin ay pi r square h. And then, kasi sabi dito, we have 2h. Diba? 2h po yun. So therefore, we have 2 pi r square h. Double po yun. The volume is also double. Okay? Kaya po siya 2h. Double po yung ating height. Okay? So yan. Combined variation. So once again, combined variation is a combination of direct and inverse variation. So here is the mathematical symbols. Y is equal to kx over c, or k is equal to yc over x. So for example, determine if the relationship is combined variation or not. The travel or the distance d traveled by a car to its speed r and the time travel t. So that is not combined variation, and it is a joint variation lang po. Okay? Bakit? In mathematical symbols, d is equal to rt. The distance varies directly to the speed and the time. So therefore, it is not a combined variation, and it is a joint variation. And then, in mathematical symbols, r is equal to d over t. The speed varies directly to this distance, and inverse to the time, it is a combined variation naman po yun. And t is equal to d over r. The time varies directly to the distance and inversely to the speed, and that is combined variation. Diba? Pag po, ibig sabihin, the faster the car, in the same direction or same distance, ibig sabihin, the faster the car, yung speed ay mas mataas, so yung time natin ay mas bababa yung mako-consume sa pagbabiyahe. Okay? So, example number 2. If x is directly proportional to y and inversely proportional to c, what happens to x if c is tripled? Tripled daw ang c. So, once again, we have x is equal to ky over c. So, ky over 3c kasi triple daw yung c. So, the value of x becomes 1/3 of the original value, or it decreases by 67% kasi we have in 1 minus 1/3, and that is 2/3, and 2/3 is equivalent to 67%. Okay? So yun lang po, hanggang dito na lang po ang ating video lesson for this week 1 and week 2. So once again, we talk all about direct, inverse, joint, or combined variation. So thank you very much, grade 9 students.